Hi Libra, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your November 1st to the 15th, 2021 money and career reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Libra, November 1st to the 15th, 2021 Libra, money and career. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Libra. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At our root, we have the Devil, which is Capricorn energy shining through. And we have the Tower. So there's a really big change coming around with our connection to what we want, but also through addictions, doubts, fears, negativities, hurts, and pains. We have the Three of Cups. And we have the Moon. We're taking the fear that we see here at our root, and it's coming forward in our inner self. We're going to be thinking a lot about the people who have celebrated us, but haven't followed through in that celebration or have wound up disappointing us in one way or another, either meaningfully or either they meant to or they didn't mean to. That's going to be beside the point. There's going to be a recurring theme that kind of shows up. That's going to be what we really focus on within our mind. So do be mindful about that. Then we have the Page of Swords at our heart. So that comes through very powerfully here within our emotional self. We come through as students. We also have the Moon within our inner self. So Pisces energy comes through very powerfully in our inner self. We have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. Again, that comes through very powerfully in our emotional self. And we have the Empress. We have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy. Amplified by the student. There can be something that we're learning from a Gemini at this time. And we have Judgment. We have a sense of looking at things and learning how to forgive ourselves, yes, but also learning how to come out of the box that we either put ourselves in or we felt that we were put into for some reason or another. And it can be that we thought, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be, this is how I'm supposed to walk forward in my life. And we're starting to discover a sense of discovery within us. Now, when it comes to money and career, we might be saying, well, what the heck's the point of that? This is all talking very emotional here. There's a lot of power cards, major arcana cards coming through, and they have to focus on fear, determination, love, and claiming our own power. And why that's important to us and for us when it comes to money and career, it's saying here, even though we are a student, even though we are learning so much, don't forget the assertiveness of yourself and don't fall into the fears of the past, because that's just going to be too easy. It's going to be too easy to think, oh, well, I've already been there, done that. I don't need to try something new or put my toe out in the water because I already know how it's going to end. And this is really saying here, it's like, no, explore, look at things, open up your mind and say, why not? Instead of, oh, why should I? So let's look at the energy we have to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels, ooh, goodness. And spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. And we have Cernunnos coming through. Now that's the devil card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. We have this at our root, and Cernunnos is a bit different than the devil. So Cernunnos in Celtic mythology is the god of chaos. And the god of chaos, it's neither right, it's neither wrong, it simply just is. And every action, whether it's good or bad, it has a positive or negative reaction to it. And so we're going to be seeing that within ourselves. We're going to see there's a level of chaos, but we're also going to be really drawn to the chaos, a sense of, I don't want to plan everything out, a sense of, I want to rebel just to see what rebellion is like, or just to see what will happen. It's kind of like I want to watch the world burn and see what will happen as it burns. And what Spirit is saying here, it's kind of like step back a little bit, because we can get a little intense with that. There can be this feeling of being really attracted to people who we might really lust after, even in career-wise, even when it comes to finances, things that we might lust after, ways that we might spend our money that give us that instant high gratification of, I've just, obtained this. We're going to be really into obtaining during this time. So again, be mindful about that and surrounding ourselves with people who like to obtain. And Spirit is saying here, what's the consequence? What's the bigger picture? Why are we seeking to obtain? And so that's going to be really important to kind of step back out of things and say, okay, what's the point of this? It has to have a point. It has to have a reason. And then we have our chakra energy, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly, guide this reading and show me clearly. It's Mother Earth. It is the Earth Star chakra located 6 inches below our feet. It is a connection with the earth, with what we want, with what we desire, with what we're growing. But it's also knowing that Mother Earth is not always kind and generous and giving. She's also intense and powerful, and tornadoes and hurricanes and blizzards and, nor'easters and everything like that comes through that can really just leave you breathless and leave you terrified. And so when we're connecting with the Earth Star chakra, when we're connected to the energy of the earth that roots us, that grounds us, that guides us, we're going to find that it can be overwhelming as well as beautiful. And we have to, and the have to is a bit of a harsh thing to say, but being able to embrace that essence of change and power, and that essence of beauty and nurturing is going to be very important for us. The devil. When we have the devil here, we have a lot of things becoming mucky and mired. We have a lot of things coming up that we're going to look at and be like, well, why is that even coming up now? I thought I had gotten past that anxiety, gotten past that doubt, that fear, that chaos. And what Spirit's going to say here is that we need to really look at things, because our whole world has been turned upside down in one way or another. And a lot of the fears that we have had are going to rear their ugly head again, are going to look through at one way at our lives and come through in another way in our lives and make us think, am I moving the right way? Have I made the right decisions? Do I know what it is that I want? And during this time, to stare down our fear, to stare down our chaos, to look at our negative coping mechanisms that we fall back on because, they're comfortable and familiar and they follow the same wound patterns. That's going to be something that we need to look at, we need to understand, and then separate ourselves from. It's going to be a hard journey to separate ourselves from the anxiety, the doubts, the fears, the alcohol, the drugs, whatever it is that we've used as, addictive, self-medication here. That's going to be something that we're finding we're rocking our world and we're stepping away from. We're stepping away from this chaos, but it comes up and everything's triggered because we're not feeling like we're enough. We're not feeling like we're achieving enough, like we're making enough, like we're moving forward enough. And what Spirit is saying here is really look at where the stem of inadequacy comes from. It usually comes from our childhood. It comes from some place where we felt foolish, where we felt as if our voice didn't matter, where we, really trusted in somebody and they let us down. Now we could say that's me. I trusted in myself and I let me down. And Spirit's saying here, stop being so hard on yourself. Stop being so hard. Stop carrying around the hurtful, angry words that were said, and start moving forward towards what it is that we really want, what it is that we really desire. The people who truly celebrate us within our lives, instead of the people who think we're a joke, instead of the people who, say you'll never make it. And this is something that we're going to be looking at here and saying, but that's a lie, but that's a lie. And so then we have the moon coming forward. And just knowing that this negativity is a lie, that it doesn't get to define us, it doesn't get to describe us inwardly, that's going to be a huge deal. And it starts changing the game because the moon comes forward and the moon says, here are the shadows. Here's everything in the gray. Here's everything that is, unknowable and powerful. And now it is time to have the veil lifted. Now is the time to see the shadows for what they are, and not having them be monsters, not having them be absolute chaos, not having them be what defines us in a negative, terrifying way. And as we move towards who we want to be, as we embrace what we desire within our lives, we're looking at that fear. And when it comes to money and career, we might not know that we're afraid to be able to have enough money to, eat lobster every day. We might not know that we're carrying around a past life, sense of hurt and pain and poverty and despair, or even a present life, sense of pain. We might have thought, I worked through this. But every time we work through our traumas and our dramas, they come up again. They come up again when we're vulnerable. They come up again when we're tired. They come up again when we're not feeling very well. They have a tendency to show their face. And what Spirit is saying here is that we're a student of our voice and what we desire and where it is that we want to be. And we're going to be getting a lot of messages from Spirit. So keep your mind open. We're going to be connecting in a way that's quite powerful. So keeping ourselves open to this power, to this truth, to this determination is going to be a game changer for us. And we're going to start seeing our path forward differently. We're going to start seeing ourselves differently. And as we see ourselves differently, as we call this energy and power and determination forward, we're going to cut through a lot of doubts and fears that have held us back, a lot of things that we haven't said, or a lot of things that we've taken in from other people and think, well, if I'm just a little bit like this and I'm a little bit like that, and I try to make myself perfect. And Spirit's saying here, no. You want to be successful financially. You want to be successful, career-wise. It's time to be ourselves. And it's time to be a student of what we want, of what we desire, and of where we need to be. And it moves us to the Chariot. It moves us to taking a rein on our emotions, which can get out of hand here because we do have that addictive tendency coming up. And taking a rein on our emotions, acknowledging our subconscious and our conscious, and moving forward towards what we want, what we desire, and where it is that we need to be. Because that has us claiming our voice, claiming the bigger picture of what's important for us, but also starting to realize that we had handed over power, that we had forgotten that we had power. We might not even have handed it over. We might not have known that we had it. And now we start to see it. We start to see ourselves. We start to see what we desire within our lives. We start to crown ourselves. We also start to see movement forward. That stagnation that we felt stuck in, that kind of like, mud soup, that you make when you're little and you're pretending to be like a mad scientist outside. Here, you're going to find that there's a freedom that comes, that there's a sense of sitting on the throne and claiming what it is that we desire, but also sitting comfortably within ourselves, claiming what it is that we want, where it is that we want to be, what it is that we desire. And that leads us to this place of love, but that leads us to also seeing the beauty within life again, seeing the passion, looking at things and not thinking, same thing, different day. It's not having that feeling that if I cut out the dates, you wouldn't be able to tell the days apart. And that gets overwhelming, that gets tiresome, that gets aggravating. And what we're seeing here is a sense of, what do I love? What do I want? What do I need? Where's the passion? Where's the passion in my life that I'm calling into myself for what I desire, for my life, for what I desire, and for who I am? Desire is going to be a huge part of moving forward during this time. The sense of passion, the sense of love, the sense of, I don't need everybody to love me. I need to love, my progression, my understanding, and what I want from my life. and we come out of a box. We come out of a box that we were put in, a box that we thought we had to sit in, and we start to see ourselves rise more and more. And we're also going to start to see that this energy that's around us, and it's almost around the whole entire world right now, that everybody has to agree. Like, it has to be this way or that way. If this person doesn't agree with me with these key things, like they're absolutely terrible. It's like, no, let others be them, and let us be us, and let us rise. Let us rise, and let us see, and let us imagine, and let us discover, because that is going to be the extraordinary thing. And it moves us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of, and it's the Prince of Swords. We're going to be so revved up and so willing and ready for change and adventure that we're just going to run after it. We're going to think, screw everything else and just go for it, which is fun and good and might work out okay. But we have to be very mindful of really following people with that idea. We also have to be very mindful of that taking over and moving us in a direction that becomes overwhelming, because it's going to be exciting at first, and then the consequences are going to set in, and it's not going to be so exciting. It moves us to our subconscious chakra energy, which is balance. And that's the root chakra. And it was coming through in the Earth Star chakra that we need this balance of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, this root chakra of who we are and what we want and what we're developing within our lives. It then brings us to our subconscious rooted self. And that's the magician. As above, so below. As we believe it, so it becomes. We're going to look at our mind. We're going to look at the way that we're taking everything in. We're going to be looking at what we want and how we're developing and where we desire being. And we're going to find that we're using the elements that make us up in a very distinct and powerful way. We're looking at a greater picture, and we're starting to see a greater power. And as we see that power and embrace that picture, we start to embrace who we are. We have to be very mindful of our minds. We have to be very mindful of anxieties and depressions and hurts and pains that are around us at this time. That can be absolutely overwhelming. It can almost be like a sepia picture. The colors have just been changed a little bit, and it becomes harder to see what it is that we want to celebrate, how it is that we can celebrate ourselves. And Spirit's saying, don't lose track of the magic that is you. Don't lose track of the spark that you have, because you do have it, but everything comes in, and we've been thrown out of our comfort zone, and we've been tested, and that makes us doubt ourselves. But we're also starting to see that we're coming out of the expectations of others, or even out of the false expectations of ourselves, and we're stepping into what we truly want and what we truly desire. It brings us to our subconscious inner self, and that is the Four of Cups. There's a gift that's coming our way that we're not looking at. And now it can also not feel like a gift. It can be something that later on down the road we look at and say, wow, that was the catalyst that changed my whole entire life. That was the thing that when I was going through it, I was kicking, I was screaming, pulling up the hair, gnashing of the teeth, very much a Greco-Roman, ancient novel type of thing. But now I see that this is a powerful place for me. This is what I need to stand in. This is what I desire. I mean, we have Mamanin and Rhiannon. We have the king of the sea, and we have the goddess of horses. So we have ourselves here with this movement forward, with this sense of nothing's going to hold me back. Nothing's going to define me or deny me. And that's going to be a powerful force that guides us, even if we're not cognizant of it at the time. It brings us to our subconscious emotional self. And we have the Hangman. We're in between worlds. This is in between the spirit world and the earthly plane. Here it is, well, this is all Welsh mythology, so this is the fairy world and the earthly plane. And what we're going to see here is that we're seeing things quite differently than we have seen them before. We're looking at things quite openly and honestly in a way that surprises us. We've been thrown out of the normal convention of things. And now we're starting to say, okay, I stand in a different place. I stand in a different time. I stand in a different understanding than what I stood in yesterday or even 5 minutes ago. And that's opening up a door, and that's leading me forward in an extraordinary way. It brings us then to our subconscious public arena self. And that's charity. This is generosity. This is giving with generosity, but it's being charitable with ourselves, with our dreams, with what we want, with our time. It's not putting ourselves on these tight, restrictive, everythings to think, okay, it just has to be like this or like that. Spirit is saying, be generous with yourself, be generous with what you want, with what you need, and how you're moving forward into your own space and into your own prosperity. Because we tend to think that prosperity looks like one certain thing, the big house, the fancy car, the certain zip code. And Spirit's saying, why does it have to look like that? Why did somebody get to cookie cut what successful is? And now all these different people, all these different emotions, all these different desires have to fit into that cookie cutter mold, because it's not going to work. And it was never going to work. It was going to make certain people elite, and it was going to make other people feel really bad about themselves and feel like they're never going to get there. And Spirit's saying stop. Spirit's saying stop, and start to see your gifts as what they are, because they're extraordinary. Even though they might not, buy the mansions, they might not bring in the astronomical wealth that everybody seems to be chasing. Having a normal life, having a down-to-earth life, that's extraordinary, and that's beautiful. All right, Libra. That balance is going to be a wonderful thing. So I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the determination that is us. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Libra.